Welcome to 11 on 11 right here on THV 11 Plus. I'm Ashley King, and we start with the news about those data centers that we've been following for a while. For weeks, normally routine Pulaski County meetings have turned into lengthy arguments over whether a new planned data center can or should be built near Wrightsville. Tuesday night, a committee advanced a moratorium that would still allow the approved project to move forward. THV 11's Catherine Rowley explains why the less restrictive plan won out and why neighbors left upset.
Community members who showed up to Tuesday's meeting hoping for a stricter moratorium ordinance left upset after a second, less restrictive proposal passed.
What y'all did was just showed us that you're worried about covering your butts rather than what we're doing, what we care about. You don't care about our lives. You don't care about our livelihood. As long as y'all don't get sued, right? Which is coming from our tax dollars.
Neighbors in Wrightsville expressed concerns about transparency as well as frustrations with comments from quorum court members regarding the moratorium and potential legal risks for the county.
Because you don't see it, you don't live in it, you don't want to acknowledge it or anything that's wrong. Like
Justice of the Peace Julie Blackwood sponsored the first ordinance, which included stricter restrictions and would have stopped the current Avio project from moving forward. She says her priority has been listening to her constituents and pushing for an ordinance with more teeth.
I mean, there are so many concerns, and when you water down an ordinance, I just feel like we're not getting the protection that we deserve. Right?
Diane Curry sponsored the second ordinance, which passed and will now go before the full quorum court. This version allows for the project to continue and reduces potential legal liability for the county.
We have so many unintended consequences that could occur with not allowing the project that we have already given permit to not go forward.
The next meeting regarding data centers in Pulaski County is scheduled for July 23rd before the Planning Commission. In Little Rock, Catherine Rowley, THV 11 News.
And in other news from around the state, the search for a missing man on Lake Hamilton has ended in tragedy. Garland County officials say crews recovered the body of 85-year-old Thomas Ross Tuesday morning after deputies found his boat drifting against a dock with its engine still running. Investigators believe Ross had been cleaning the boat before he disappeared, and they're now working to determine exactly what happened. And Little Rock's former police chief, Heath Helton, has a new job, moving from leading the city's police department to a statewide law enforcement role. He's heading up the Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training, known as CLEST. The agency runs 3 police academies and certifies officers across Arkansas. Helton will take over as director after 30 years with the Little Rock Police Department. He starts August 3rd. Helton replaces Chris Chapman, who returned to Hot Springs as police chief after 3 years at CLEST. And drivers with a lead foot may want to ease off the pedal. Arkansas State Police have a message this morning. Slow down. Troopers are stepping up patrols across the state as part of a month-long crackdown on speeding. And THV 11's Maya Ellison takes a closer look at the effort to keep drivers safe.
Well, driving along the interstate and roadways here in Arkansas, you might notice an increase of police presence. Well, Arkansas State Police say it's all a part of a new campaign, one that's aimed at keeping you safe behind the wheel.
We're trying to save lives by promoting these campaigns. You know, just slowing down and giving yourself more time to react to the traffic in front of you.
That's the message Arkansas State Police Captain Brad Land says is driving this year Speeding Slows You Down campaign. The nationwide enforcement effort runs through July, encouraging drivers to obey the speed limit while troopers increase patrols across the state.
A lot of times just being visible is a deterrent alone, but we're really stepping up for those saturation patrols, or you'll see us out making a lot of traffic stops, trying to slow those motorists down.
Captain Land says troopers have made more traffic stops since the campaign began, something he says is common during the busier summer travel season.
There's a lot of people out and about. Speeding is not just breaking the law, but it's also breaking lives.
Now, preliminary numbers in Arkansas show both crashes and fatalities are down compared to this time last year. But Captain Land says even one speed-related death is too many.
So go ahead and slow down. watch those speed limit signs.
Still nationwide, speeding remains one of the leading causes of deadly crashes. Last year, 139 of the state's 603 traffic fatalities were linked to speeding. Captain Land says those numbers are a reminder that choosing to slow down can save lives.
We all seem like we're in a hurry most of the time, but if we slow down just a little bit, it could prevent an injury or fatality.
In Little Rock, Maya Ellison, THV 11 News.
Maya, thank you. In other news, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton is expected to push back against the latest effort to end the twice-a-year clock change. Passed the Sunshine Protection Act Tuesday. The bill would make daylight saving time permanent while still allowing states to choose standard time. Supporters say more evening daylight would help the economy and daily life. Critics warn darker winter mornings could create health and safety concerns. Semaphore reports Cotton is expected to try to block the measure in the Senate. Cotton has argued permanent daylight saving time would leave kids in school and workers in the dark on winter mornings. The Senate would have to pass the bill before it could head to the president's desk. Health officials are zeroing in on lettuce and other salad greens as a possible source of the growing parasitic illness outbreak. It has now spread to more than 30 states, including Arkansas, and the number of cases has jumped from hundreds to thousands. Doctors also say this outbreak is different because simply washing your fruits and vegetables may not be enough to remove the parasite. THV 11's Tamer Knight spoke with a UAMS doctor about what's driving the outbreak and the safest ways to prepare fresh produce.
If you want your fresh fruits or fresh vegetables, you're going to no longer have them fresh if you're going to heat them hot enough to kill these cysts.
Cooking produce to at least 160 degrees is the most effective way to kill the cysts created by the parasite that causes slicosporiasis.
If you want to have 100% certainty, you got to heat it up.
That guidance applies to both fruits and vegetables. Dr. Robert Hopkins with UAMS says washing and drying produce is still important during the outbreak, but it's not enough.
Cleaning as best you can, wiping down, those kind of things, that's going to help, but it's not going to completely eliminate the cysts if they are contaminating that fruit or vegetable.
Even store-bought produce washes don't eliminate the risk. Dr. Hopkins says knowing where your produce comes from can help lower your risk.
If you grow them yourself and you're careful with what you use to water, you got nothing to worry about. If you're going to your local farmer's market and you know how they prepare things, that's probably a relatively low risk. If you're going to your local grocery store, you're probably relatively low risk.
People at higher risk, including those with compromised immune systems, young children, and older adults.
The real risk is to people who have immune compromise, people who are young, our little babies, our older adults, and those who have chronic health conditions.
If contracted, people who are otherwise healthy may recover from severe symptoms if they avoid major complications.
Most otherwise healthy adults are going to be able to get over this infection if they get it without major complications or without treatment.
Tamer Knight, THV 11 News.
Dr. Hopkins says it is still safe to consume salads, berries, and other produce at this time with proper care. And when we come back from break, we're taking a closer look at Streamer University and how Kai Cenat's creator bootcamp is growing sales numbers at local businesses. Welcome back. Millions of people online are turning their attention to Arkansas this week as one of the internet's biggest streamers hosts his Streamer University event. The gathering is taking place at Hendrix College in Conway, bringing fans, creators, and new business to the area. THV 11's Carter Thweet shows us the local impact.
I just think it's really cool that they came here, of all places.
Leland Boozer is one of many excited about Streamer University, a 5-day experience where popular internet personality Kai Cenat teaches people how to create engaging live stream content.
I told my mom, can we go down there? That was like the first thing I said.
With millions of followers and viewers, Cenat and other live streamers share every moment live, drawing millions of viewers each year. Nearby restaurants had no idea they were less than a mile from the action.
We were told that a higher profile individual would be come and visiting and possibly renting out the college for the weekend, but we weren't told any specific details.
Once people figured out Hendrix was this year's host, some tried to get a closer look at the event.
People just started camping out and then started seeing the streamers, and it was confirmed.
The campus is locked down, but the city of Conway isn't. In nearby Hendrix Village, employees at restaurants like the Purple Cow and La Pista Pizzeria are reaping the benefits.
Last night it was super busy. It's maybe 3 times more busy than it usually is. And then also around the fences, around the parking lot, there were so many people waiting for their streamers, like favorite streamers.
Especially in the evenings when they get done with their classes and stuff over there. We've got all these streamers that came from out of state to attend the university. They stay above us in the dorms right now.
The city of Conway saying in a statement that Streamer University offers an opportunity to showcase their community to viewers around the world.
After I saw it was confirmed, I was very stunned that this happened here in Conway, honestly.
In Conway, Carter Thweet, THV 11 News.
And Arkansas programs serving seniors and people with disabilities have faced funding pressure and long waits. At the same time, the state's Department of Human Services identified nearly $28 million in savings. THV 11 Investigates obtained internal records showing where the agency looked to reduce spending, and Tanya Motorzitsky pressed DHS to explain those budget decisions.
Over the last several months, THV 11 Investigates received reports of funding cuts and other issues impacting several groups tied to the Arkansas Department of Human Services. Last month, we told you about cuts to Arkansas Senior Olympics funding just days before the new fiscal year started that DHS just reinstated last week.
Miraculously, we were able to get the DHS to agree to fund us as they promised.
Before that, we looked at concerns raised by CareLink and its Meals on Wheels program.
A bad formula for a crisis on the horizon.
Earlier this year, we shared stories from a family on Arkansas's Community and Employment Supports Waiver waitlist for people with developmental disabilities.
We have been told anywhere between 2 to 10 years.
Each time a concern was raised, THV 11 reached out to DHS to find answers and solutions. Those requests led us to hundreds of documents from DHS suggesting the issues may be part of a bigger budget conversation happening within the department. According to records, the agency identified nearly $28 million in savings tied to what's listed as Category B funding for fiscal year 2027. The savings comes from a combination of unfilled positions, program reductions, and shifting some expenses to reserve funding sources. All moves, State Senator Kim Hammer says, is a part of a bigger issue facing DHS.
DHS is up against the wall because of the growing demand in other areas that their budget requires to meet, whether it's the food for the senior adult centers or just, helping in other areas.
Among the programs identified for savings include Arkansas Senior Olympics, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and Lifespan Respite grants. Documents show some of those same programs appeared in proposed grant amendments just days before they later appeared on reduction lists. I asked DHS why those funding plans changed and when final decisions were made. DHS says these decisions were made leading up to the July 1st fiscal year start date by DHS and other relevant staff throughout the agency. And at the time, grant amendments were not considered as a potential option for alternate funding. The records also reveal financial concerns raised months earlier by CareLink. In February, the organization notified DHS and the state about plans to withdraw as a Medicaid Arkansas Choices meal provider in Pulaski County. In that letter, CareLink cited reimbursement rates remaining unchanged since 2009 despite inflation. The letter also refers to a 2022 review that reportedly recommended a rate increase that was never implemented. DHS says rate increases depend on available funding. The documents also provide an updated snapshot of Arkansas's Community and Employment Supports Waiver waitlist. As of May 2026, more than 2,000 people were on the waitlist. More than 1,400 were under the age of 18. Those sitting at the top of the list first qualified in the summer of 2023. DHS documents estimates each additional waiver slots cost between $18,000 and $26,000 annually in state funding. According to DHS, they strive to set rates that are fair but also must balance these decisions against available funding. In Little Rock, Tanya Motorzitsky, THV 11 News.
And just to reiterate, DHS found the funds to reinstate Senior Olympics and Meals on Wheels. State Senator Hammer says the state does have a $600 million surplus, but that's in case more federal dollars get cut, resulting in a special session. Something he says they don't think they're inching near. We ask DHS many other specific questions, and for that dialogue, head to thv11.com. A reminder, if you have a story that you'd like us to look into, you can call 501-590-4630. You can also email our tip line, investigates@thv11.com. For more than 100 years, this theater has brought people together. We're going to take you inside its next chapter. But first, let's eat it up.
Doesn't get any better. There's the kick. This is Step Brothers. Pow, pow. There's the kick. This week on Eat It Up, we are back in the Spa City. It is summertime in Hot Springs, and these All-Stars behind me, not the only All-Stars that call Hot Springs home. I'm talking about All-Star catfish. Y'all, it is so deliciously good. Of course the catfish, of course the hush puppies. Let me talk to you about some crawfish egg rolls and some pineapple that is so sweet, you're gonna wish it was summer all year long. So what do you say? Let's eat it up.
We can go all the way back to 12 years old. I was weed eating a ditch in Haskell, Arkansas for Fisherman's Cove. Their busboy called in sick, asked me if I would stay. I didn't leave for several years. After high school, I started a career with Chevrolet here in town, worked for them for 26 years. My wife and I thought we were going to slow down, got back in the fish business, and here we are. You can't put a price on it. Not only do we have Chase in here, Race, our oldest son, he's a fireman in Benton, he's unable to be here today, but he's normally in there with us also, so it's always all family. For starters, we love cooking catfish for people that love eating good catfish. So we buy all of our catfish, it's U.S. farm-raised catfish. Our cornmeal is where things hit. We put stuff in our cornmeal that just makes the flavors pop. Your tongue's gonna be slapping the back of your throat. Awesome fried butterflied shrimp. You've gotta have the chicken strips to go with it. Our seasoned almost to perfection French fries. Our hush puppies have a little kick of jalapeno. Hey look, our appetizers, we've got some diced jalapeno cheese poppers. We take a smoked sausage, we deep fry it, add our Cajun sprinkle to it. If you love sausage out of a crawfish boil, you'll love it out of that deep fryer.
Look at the size of this egg roll. It's like twice the size of a normal egg roll. And we're diving in, baby. You get the incredible taste of crawfish. You don't gotta do any work. Corn nuggets for days. Soft, chewy inside. Got the unbelievable flavor. It's a Spa City. It's hot down in Hot Springs. We keep it hot. Jalapeno poppers. There's the kick. This is Step Brothers. Pow, pow. You always gotta get fried pickles in Arkansas. You have to. Cue the smash mouth. We're gonna check this all-star status. You dip in the tartar sauce, you go to town. That catfish is awesome. It is so good. Didn't even mention butterfly shrimp in the cocktail sauce. Goodness gracious. I'm listening to so much smash mouth in my head right now.
For over a century, one Central Arkansas theater has been attracting audiences of all ages to come and experience a little bit of magic on screen and on stage. I went behind the scenes at the Royal Theater in Benton to see how its history is being celebrated and renovated.
It's magic. It's absolutely magic.
Saturday matinees, first dates, standing ovations, and generations of Arkansans who've passed beneath this glowing sign. In downtown Benton, the Royal Theater isn't just preserving history, it's still creating it.
In the 1920s, it was built. Then whenever they started showing movies for news and reels, that's when it became a movie theater.
The story begins in the early 1920s, well before co-founder of the Young Players Program and former board member Daphne Schuper ever stepped foot in the building. It opened as the Independent Motion Pictures Theater, or simply the IMP. Founded by Alice Wooten, it quickly became one of the entertainment centers of Saline County, before eventually coming under ownership of the Kaufman family, who transformed it into what would become the Royal Theater.
I was probably 4, and I
Okay.
came to watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And in high school, I worked here in the concession stand.
The space expanded, the famous marquee was added, and moviegoers filled seats. For decades, it was the place to be in Benton.
These are the original doors from the first theater.
Years later, actor Jerry Van Dyke purchased the Royal Theater, adding a stage and bringing live performances into the historic theater while still showing films.
He actually performed in a show, Grease. In 1998, there was a soda shop, and he had a candy store and an antiques store on the other side of us.
Then in 2000, the building found a new purpose. The Royal Players transformed the former movie house into one of Arkansas's busiest community theaters.
So many people that don't get to see a New York show, and this is in your backyard. You know, you get to see Broadway-style shows.
All powered by volunteers, people who build sets, paint scenery, memorize lines, and keep this historic theater alive.
That's why I encourage the audition process, because when you get here, it feels like family.
Even when the curtain falls, the work never stops. The Royal is undergoing another transformation with the recent restoration of its iconic marquee, upgraded seating, and preserving the details that have welcomed visitors for generations.
I hear a lot of people say, oh, this is where I met my husband, or just, I had my first date here, things like that. When you walk through the door, you just feel at home. There's just a lot of nostalgia.
The Royal has changed names, owners, and even the kind of performances taking place on its stage. But for more than 100 years, its purpose has remained remarkably unchanged: to bring a community together.
It's a place for community to come and share an experience. They feel something different when they leave than when they came.
Ashley King, THV 11 News.
And that will do it for our 11 on 11 right here on THV 11 Plus. Join us next week for all of your top headlines in the natural state.